Dan Greaney joins us now. Good to see you. All right, I've got to ask you before we get started here, how could you predict back then that we would have Donald Trump as our president? How did you know?
Well, we were writing an episode about the future, and we wanted the country to be in such terrible shape that Lisa Simpson needed Bart Simpson's help to fix it. And so the question was, who would put the country in such terrible shape, and who was the president before Lisa? And another writer suggested Johnny Depp. And that just didn't make any sense to me. And I said, no, why would they vote? Why would America vote for Johnny Depp? They're going to vote for somebody who promises them everything, and somebody like Donald Trump. And that turned out to be true.
Okay, so well, here we are today, and you've been very clear that this campaign isn't a joke. So make the case for yourself. Why should Americans consider, a longtime comedy writer as their next president? What's your pitch?
Well, my pitch is that they should be open to considering me. I don't think that they should pick me now or say they're behind me now. I think that they should open their minds to the wider range of possibilities, because the people that are in front of us now, the options we have now, are unsatisfactory, and the future that they are offering us is unsatisfactory. And as a writer, I want to write a new page. I want to turn the chapter. Okay. And as a comedy writer, I'm based on truth. And I think that's where I want to base my approach to the country. It seems like you want to ask a question. I don't want to go on.
No, I just wanted to hear what the pitch was, because I know that you describe yourself as a progressive Republican, and you support things like universal health care, climate action, and expanding the Supreme Court, while also running as a critic of President Trump. So, in terms of trying to square the narrative, just, wanting everybody to be able to wrap their minds around something that you're offering.
Sure. Well, I feel like I'm offering a return to a great American pragmatic progressive tradition. From Abraham Lincoln to my personal hero, Teddy Roosevelt, to then it's on the, Eisenhower, FDR. I feel politically I'm somewhere between the two Roosevelts, and I admire them both tremendously. I've never felt strongly that America was a one-party country. I think we have a centrist tradition that I feel was very practical and pragmatic, and has somehow disappeared in this welter of polarization and tribalism. And I think the Republican Party could reclaim the mantle of practical progressivism. Teddy Roosevelt, at the end of his career, was for universal health care. And he created the national parks. He's a great American progressive with a patriotic tilt. And that's a tradition that I would be very honored to carry forward.
All right. Well, and let's talk about the 2028 Republican field, because we've got a workup here of what it could look like. The sitting vice president, the secretary of state, possibly even a member of the Trump family. That's been talked about. And most of those candidates would have, of course, far more money, name recognition, and party support than you, from what we've been told. I haven't checked your bank account lately, but it does seem as though that's where we're at right now. So how does...
No, I love it.
How does Dan Greaney actually break through in a field like that when we're talking about those names?
Honestly, those guys aren't even in the picture. And I really mean that. When a year ago, I put up my first video saying that I expected the Trump presidency to end catastrophically within the year. And it didn't end as decisively as I expected, but it has essentially ended. America and the world have moved past President Trump. All three of those candidates are identified with this catastrophic era of American misgovernment. And I think they're disqualified, frankly. They may not know it yet. They haven't gotten the memo. And the next year and a half, the next 2 years, will be just a further realization of how they bet on the wrong horse. And that's really why I got into the race. When I saw that the billionaires were lining up next to Trump, I said we have to manifest a better future for America. We have to manifest a more American future for America than autocracy and submission and complicity. And I want a patriotic, progressive future for America that's democratic, believes in the equal value of everybody, and is red, white, and blue. And those guys they're done.
Well, listen, I mean, there's a lot of different thoughts about this. And let's just take one more lap here, because your platform is calling for making housing more affordable across the country. It is something that we want to talk to you about in the future. If you could just give me a quick 10-second answer on affordability for housing.
Well, what I love cities, and I love green spaces in cities. And I live in Los Angeles, and our downtown seems woefully underutilized. So the idea of densification, densification around green spaces and mass transit. So
Dan
that's what I'm
Greaney,
for.
I got to leave it there. Thanks for coming on the show.
Among other things.
We appreciate it. And thanks for watching The Hill on News Nation. Elizabeth Vargas Reports is starting right now.